Maybe. Slow again today. Sorry. There we go. All right. So lesson 2.1 is about creating and solving proportions. So a proportion, this is the big idea for today. So what is a proportion? A proportion is two equal fractions. It's two fractions that are equal. So for example, what is 14 divided by 7? What is 14 divided by 7, you guys?
Two.
Yep. So it's 2. And then what is 10 divided by 5?
2.
Yep. So since they equal the same thing, that means that they are a proportion. So the next part just really makes it super clear. What is not a proportion? I'm going to erase that part. It's two unequal fractions. So for example, 7 divided by 9 equals that weird decimal right there. And 2 divided by 3 equals a different weird decimal. So since they're not equal, they're not proportions. So just really quickly, do you guys understand what I'm saying here? If you divide them and they're the same number, it's a proportion. If not, it's not a proportion.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay. Here's the analogy that I use when I talk about proportions. So it would be like if me and Miss Frederick, for example, if we went in together on a car and she paid for half and I paid for half. And then we used it for a while, whatever, and we sold the car. When we sold it, would it be fair if I got like 80% of the money and she only got 20% of the money? Would that be fair?
No.
No.
No, because we split it 50-50, right? So whatever if we paid half and half to purchase it, then when we sell it, we should each get half and half, right? Does that make sense? It's proportional.
Mm-hmm.
So down here, there's two ways you can check if something is proportional or if it's a proportion. So first, what is 4 divided by 2?
Isn't it 2?
Yep. And then 20 divided by 6. Ooh, that's not 2. So this is no. This is not a proportion. Sorry. The next one, 4 over 3. If I did 4 divided by 3, we get 1.333. And then if I do 16 divided by 12, I get 1.333. So is this a proportion or not a proportion?
Proportion.
Yep. So proportion. Can you guys try this one really quick? Try this one. So do you guys think this is a proportion or not a proportion?
Proportion.
It is. I accidentally told you guys I would give you time to write this down, and I forgot to do that. So I'm just going to stop for a minute. I'm just going to wait. I'm going to give you a chance. If you wouldn't mind, could you just take the next 30 seconds and write down these 4 examples? Just kind of put those 4 examples. Take like 30 seconds to a minute to write that down, and then also write down these things that we've written. So I'll stop talking for like a minute, okay? Okay. So just in case anyone's curious where our proportion came from, this one also happens to equal 1.333. And then 8 over 6 equals 1.333. That's just a coincidence that these two are the same. That's a coincidence. It's not always 1.333. Okay, so then for this last one, 3 divided by 2 is 1.5. 18 divided by 8 is 2.25. Proportion or no?
Not proportion.
Good. So there is one other way, and we're actually going to use this other method in our work. There's another way that you can check if it's a proportion. Here's something interesting. Do you guys know what 8 times 3 is? It's 24. And then do you know what 6 times 4 is?
Same thing.
Same thing. So what's cool, I guess I think it's cool. You guys might disagree because whatever. But this is 24 and this is 24. How about up top here? Do you guys know what 4 times 12 is? $48. And then, do you know what 3 times 16 is? It's also 48. Let's look at these guys. Sorry, so many clicks. Okay. What's 2 times 20? How much money is 2 $20 bills?
40.
40. So this is 40. And then how about, I'm going to stop highlighting. I'm just going to start circling. What's 4 times 6 again?
24.
24. Okay, notice these two things are different. And it became a no. This 48 and 48, proportion. 24, 24, proportion. This next one, what's 3 times 8?
24.
Yep. And then 2 times 18 is 36. Notice they're different, and it was a no. So what happens is if you do, it's called a cross multiple. If you do the loop around and they equal 2 separate things, it's not a proportion. If they are the same, then it is. So here's how we're going to use that little like nugget of information. So it says, how do you find a missing value in a proportion? Well, here's the deal. They're telling us these are all proportions. Okay, they're saying they are. They're equal. What that means is we can take the loop and they need to be equal. So for example, this one, what is 9 times 2?
18.
18. It has to be equal because it says it's a proportion to this loop, x times 4, which is just 4x. Well, if 18 is equal to 4x, how do we solve for x? How do we solve that equation?
Got it.
Yep. Bye-bye, it's okay. Sorry, my dog is seeing something outside. So 4.5 equals x. There's going to be 2 steps to this process. I'm going to write them off to the side. Actually, I'm going to pause really quick. I want to give you guys a minute. I'm actually going to give you 2 minutes. Can you please write down these 4 examples? Those 4. I'm going to give you 2 minutes. I'm going to set a timer so I make sure to cut myself off. So 2 minutes, just write those 4 examples down. Okay, 30 more seconds. All right, so my alarm just went off. Okay, so we already solved one. Here are the 2 steps. So first step you're going to do is, it's called cross multiply. That's what those loops are that we did. We multiply across the equal sign. And then the second step is divide. So we first cross multiplied, and then second we divided, and then we got our answer. Okay. So cross multiply, divide. The interesting thing here you might notice is, do you see how 4 is double 2? We're basically asking what is double to 9, and we get 4.5, which makes sense. Okay. So let's try this next one. What is, okay, k times 8 is just 8k. And then what is 10 times 4? This is us cross multiplying.
40, and then you divide it by 8.
Yep. So first step is cross multiply. Second step, divide. And we get k equals 5, right?
Yeah.
Which this also makes sense because what is 8 divided by 4? 2. So then we're basically asking 10 divided by what is 2, which is 5. But don't stress about that. As long as you understand the steps, that's what's important. Okay, how about this one? Let's go to this one. What's 12 times 10?
120.
120. And then v times 2 is just 2v. And then what?
60.
Yep. Divide by 2, divide by 2. 60 equals v. Now think about this also. 2 times 6 is 12. So 10 times 6 is 60. Makes sense? Next one. Hey, how about this? 3 times what is 6? Three times what? 2?
2.
So 8 times 2. 8 times 2 is how much?
16.
16.
So the answer is going to be 16. You'll start to notice like, oh, these make sense. So some of them you'll know right off the top, which is great. But here's the process. 3 times a is 3a. And that's equal to 6 times 8. So 3a equals 48. And then we got to divide. So first we cross multiplied. And then second we divide. A equals 16. So cross multiply, divide every time. I'm just showing you guys tricks. I don't mean to confuse you, but you might start to notice these relationships and be like, oh yeah. And you might learn shortcuts. Okay, so there's a couple tricky ones on your homework. I'll have you try at least like one of them. So I want to show you how to do these two. These are some really difficult examples, so don't feel too frustrated or anything. But we'll start the same way. So we're going to do cross multiply. 9 times 4 is 36. And then here we're going to do this. 3 times 2x minus 4. I forgot. I need to give you a moment to write these down. I'll give you like 30 seconds to write down this example and this example. I'll give you like 30 seconds. Go ahead. Okay, you guys got it? Okay, I'm going to take your silence as a yes. 3 times 2x minus 4, this is the part that screws people up because it seems really complicated. You need to take 3 times everything inside. So we keep our 36. What is 3 times 2? What's 3 times 2?
6x.
Yep. And then 3 times 4 is 12, so it's minus 12. So that's what happens there. And then we just solve like we've been doing. So plus 12 plus 12. This is 48 equals 6x. Divide by 6, divide by 6. 8 equals x. Okay? Okay. Same thing over here. 10 times 4 is 40. And then 2 times this means we need to double that whole thing. So we're going to end up with this times that and that. So we have 40 equals negative 6k plus 10. Then we do this, minus 10 minus 10. just pause there in case you're writing along. And if you're not writing along, even if you want to take pictures, you can do that. And then we divide by -6, divide by -6, and you get -5 equals k. All right. How do we feel about that? There's only 2 examples like these ones on the homework, and I'll just have you try one. The rest are like the other stuff.
Can you go back? I want to take photo.
Yep. You want me to like do this or the previous page?
This page. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to stop recording really quickly.